All right. Got to get right back into it, man. So the Ravens lost again to the Los Angeles Rams. The final score is 20-19. Tough game to watch. Very, very, very tough game to watch. Shout out to Chuck Clark, obviously. Chuck Clark, he had a monster day. Two picks, one of them being a pick six. So I know a lot of people were very happy to see Chuck Clark have that sort of impact, because there have been many times throughout this season where he almost had a pick and just didn't hold on to it, like he couldn't hold on to it. So that was very, very exciting to see. We definitely had a chance to win this game. Like once the Rams missed that early field goal, I said to him, maybe you start getting a little hopeful and thinking that maybe things are gonna go in our favor this time. But it didn't really go that way, man. It just did not. It did not. Even though Matt Stafford was trying his hardest to help us win this game, like he was playing terribly for a lot of he was looking bad out there for a lot of games. Matt Stafford, he threw two picks and he fumbled once, but he did finish the game with two touchdowns, two crucial touchdowns. One being to Odell, one being to Cooper Kupp, but then also one at the very end of the game to Odell. That the same Odell Beckham Jr. that a bunch of Ravens fans tried to say we don't need. The same Odell Beckham Jr. that a lot of football fans, including Ravens fans, tried to say was washed, and that he was the problem in Cleveland, not the other way around. That same Odell, the same Odell who since he's gone to the Rams has gotten touchdowns in like 80% of the games that he's played with them, and is having a nice little resurgence that people thought wasn't gonna happen because they just said he was washed. That same Odell. But yeah, man, like it was so close, man. We had to leave for a good chunk of the game, but then you just fell short. There's no other way to put it, man. Tyler Huntley got sacked 5 times, which again keeps going back to my point. This offensive line is garbage. I seen some people, you have some people who tried to say that, this offensive line wasn't the problem. It's just, Lamar holds the ball too long. That's the problem. No, now granted, to be fair, many times throughout the season, Lamar was hesitating more than I've seen him in the past, to where he was holding the ball too long. But mind you, I think part of him holding the ball that long was because Greg Roman was setting up plays where he wanted him to take deep shots. But the problem with having plays where you want to take deep shots is you need a good enough offensive line to give you the time to allow the play to develop so the receivers can get downfield fast enough. But nonetheless, again, regardless of if you hold the ball too long or whether if you tried to get it off quick and throw, very short check down passes like Tyler, you're still dealing with a bad offensive line. This offensive line has given up 54 sacks. That should be, and look, man, as far as I'm concerned, the off season has already started for us, man. Like, the season's over, man. Like, there's still technically a way we could end up in the playoffs. But it would take too many miracles happening all at the same time. I'm not really, like, I'm more interested in next season when everybody comes back, and hopefully when they bring in a new set of coaches. Like, I'm thinking about that, because this, even if by just sheer luck we end up having all of those miracles happen for us, we're gonna end up, all that's gonna happen is we're gonna end up in the playoffs and gonna get embarrassed. Like, that, it wouldn't be the best move to even try to get into the playoffs at this point. You're better off just focusing on just your seeding for the upcoming draft. And in the draft, you need to prioritize offensive linemen. This year is a year where there's a lot of offensive linemen that are draft prospects, draft prospects that a lot of people are highly excited for, who believe that have massive potential. Some of which being Evan Neal, Charles Cross, Akeem Ikwanu, Tyler Linderbaum, Bernard Remain, or however you pronounce that, sorry, Kenyon Green, Trevor Penning, Jackson Kirkland, and some other ones. And those are just a couple that people think might go in the first round. You know, you gotta go out there and try to get some of these, or at least one of these guys, man. You gotta really, the only thing the Ravens should be focusing on in this upcoming offseason should be offensive linemen and getting one more wide receiver to really complete, you know, your wide receiver / tight end group. And when I say get one more, I don't mean draft one. I mean go out there and cut the check for Odell or Devontae, or I don't know who's supposed to be a free agent this year, but and if anybody of that caliber becomes available, you need to cut whatever check you need to cut. Give them whatever amount of money you need to give them. You know, that's the only thing as far as free agency that you should worry about, is bringing in one more of those, and maybe like a veteran, like not a veteran, but a guard who is still in their prime, who could come into the line. That would be nice too. That way, next season, you can have Ronnie Stanley come back fully healthy. You drafted a quality right tackle, maybe like Evan Neal. You brought in a quality guard who's still in his prime. Now all of a sudden, you got a good offensive line, and you could do more. You could get these big plays that everybody wants to get. Those are the only things, in my opinion, that should be focused on. I don't know why you already, like clockwork, you already have Ravens fans who are talking about getting an edge rusher in the draft. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? What is wrong? Like, they're already talking about edge rushers and corners in the draft. What is wrong with you, dog? The biggest hole that needs to be fixed immediately is offensive line. You like when these guys are healthy, you have one of the deepest secondaries in the league. You don't need to worry about drafting a corner right now. That doesn't make sense to me, at least. That doesn't make sense. Not right. You don't need to worry about that right now, man. And edge rusher again. Y'all are still talking about edge rusher. When will you guys learn? The edge rushers on this team are not the problem. Wink Martindale is the problem when it comes to this defense. It is not the players. Zadarius Smith left this team and balled out in Green Bay. Matt Judon left this team, and the very next season he is balling out in New England. Yannick Ngakoue left this team, and the very next season he is balling out in Las Vegas. When are you guys going to understand it is not the players? You talking about needing an edge doesn't make sense. You already have the edges. Look, Tyus Bowser on any other team right now would have already had 10 or 12 sacks. I can guarantee it. Very underrated, in my opinion. Tyus Bowser is very underrated. Tyus Bowser would easily ball out on another team. Odafe Owe showed you in the beginning of the season he easily has the potential to go on another team and be like a 10-sack kind of guy. Calais Campbell, even though he's getting older, he's been one of the more productive players on our defense, even though the numbers don't show it. You put Calais on another team, he probably could still get you like 5, 6, 7 sacks. The D-line is not the problem. Wink Martindale is. And it's crazy to me that some Ravens fans, they think that, like, they're under the impression that you still need edge rushers and that's still a problem. It's not a problem. Like, and these are the same people that think that Wink should stay, or they think Wink is a good coach. Wink is not a good coach, and they still haven't put 2 and 2 together. as long as you have Wink Martindale on the sidelines coaching this defense, you are not going to have what on paper looks like elite edge rushers. You're just not going to, because he has a bad system. He has a system that does not allow edge rushers to flourish. So you are not going to see an edge rusher come on this team and dominate and have 10, 15, 20 sacks. You're not going to see it. It's going to be way too difficult. You know, Odafe Owe was off to a great start this year, and then what happened? Wink Martindale started doing to him something similar to what he started doing to Matt Judon last season, where he started, you know, moving him all around the field and dropping him back in coverage. And it's like, if you clearly see this guy has the potential to get at the quarterback, why are you not having him rush every single time? Now, granted, I'm not a coach, but as a fan, that would make the most sense to me. So again, as long as you guys want Wink Martindale to stay, I don't think he's going to. I hope he doesn't. But even if he ends up staying, guess what? You talking about an edge rusher is irrelevant. That doesn't to me. That's just you're just delusion. With all due respect, you're just being delusional at this point. Because that, as long as you have him around, you're never going to have a system that will allow for any edge rusher to show you what they are really capable of. Yannick Ngakoue has 10 sacks this year for the Las Vegas Raiders. Matt Judon has 12.5 sacks this year for the New England Patriots. These two players who we just let go combined have 22.5 sacks. Just these two players. Our entire defensive line in this season only has about 33 sacks. These two players who we just let go, who last year a lot of Ravens fans were claiming weren't that good and we needed real edge rushers to replace them, they by themselves are almost outperforming our entire defensive line. And you should be embarrassed by that. But you know, and not only embarrassed, that alone should have woken you up to the fact that Wink Martindale needs to go. I still stand by what I said. Wink Martindale needs to go, and so does Greg Roman. No, I did not forget about Greg Roman. This offense is still terrible. Mind you, our offense didn't even score yesterday. The only people that scored was Chuck Clark on the pick 6, and then Justin Tucker kicked a bunch of field goals. This offense didn't score. You know, like, it is what it is, man. Like, this offense is still terrible. You know, unfortunately, Tyler Huntley just had a really, really bad interception when he threw it to Hollywood. Well, was trying to throw it to Hollywood, but he like underthrew Hollywood by what looked like 15 yards. Like, it was a bad throw. And I do feel bad for Hollywood, because in these last couple of games for like the last month, Hollywood's getting open, but Huntley's just not hitting him. Like, he's either overthrowing him a lot or underthrowing him a lot. Like, but Hollywood has been burning defenders and getting open. So it's unfortunate. But still, Hollywood, he has like 981 yards. He only needs 19 more yards to get to 1,000. He's gonna get it. Like, they're gonna get it. They're gonna give it to him. It's not like, come on, 20 yards. Like, he's gonna get those 20 yards in this last game against the Steelers. But at the same time, even though I feel bad for Hollywood, I can't feel that bad for him, because look, man, this year you got 138 targets. You caught 88 catches. You gotta try to do a little bit more. Get a little more extra yards. In the beginning of the season, he seemed a little more determined to get those extra yards, but definitely once Lamar went out, it seemed like he's gone back to his older ways where he would just catch the ball and instantly just go to the ground. So, I mean, it is what it is. And I also still can't feel that bad for him, because had he caught those passes in the Detroit game, where he should have had like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game, had he caught those passes that landed right in his hands, dude, Hollywood would have like 1,200 yards right now. But I mean, not 1,200, maybe like 1,100. But But still, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know why Greg Roman insists to change over to Rashad Bateman. I don't know why. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. I don't know why Greg Roman insists on not using Rashad Bateman, because it feels like Rashad Bateman will have a moment where he's flashing his potential, and then you just don't see him again. Like I remember seeing Rashad Bateman like 2 times in that game, and next thing I know, I don't remember seeing Rashad Bateman for the rest of that game. But so again, you gotta fire Greg Roman. You have to fire Greg Roman, man. You have to do it. You have to do it, man. You have to do it. You have to get rid of this coaching staff, man. Matt Stafford was begging to give this game away. Begging to. And this coaching staff could not get the job done. They just simply could not get the job done. And then guess what? You let them hang out, just like what's been happening all season. You let them hang around long enough to where, hey, you know, they were trying to lose, but hey, you let them hang around long enough. They just said, all right, it's cool. Let's try to win this. Next thing you know, Matt Stafford starts getting on point, throws a touchdown to Cooper, and then at the very end, throws a touchdown to Odell. I mean, it is what it is, man. I don't. This season, I would say I don't want to say it's a disappointment, but it might be. I think maybe this season could be a blessing in disguise. I really do, because I've been saying since like last year that I would say before last year. I would say it for a while. I think it's been like 2 years or so. Like I started saying, like, these coaches are overrated, and you got to get rid of them. You have to get rid of them. You absolutely have to. So this season might be the best possible opportunity. You're gonna miss the playoffs. You looked terrible the whole year. Like, pretty much the whole year, it's been a mess. And you can't just blame it on injuries, especially for the people that want to try to act as if this is a top 5 coaching staff who are the reason we're winning games. If that's the case, then you're saying that they can win with anybody. And if you think they can win with anybody, guess what? You can't use injuries as an excuse, and they're not winning, so they need to be fired. And I think this is like the 3rd or 4th week in a row where I keep making this point now, where I'm almost ranting about these coaches. That's fine. I still stand by it. I'm gonna keep doing it until somebody's gone, man. You gotta clean house, man. You have to clean house. But anyway, man, let me know what your thoughts are on this. And you know, what do you guys think about the Steelers game at the end of the season? Do you guys think we're gonna win that, or do you think it'll be like a sixth loss in a row? And are there any offensive tackles, like any offensive linemen, that you guys think would be the best fit? Let me know what your thoughts are.